Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Ask the Dogman. We are live on both Facebook and YouTube today. So here we are, one more week of this show. This is Angel Soriano, aka Dogman, alongside our great producer, James Stone. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. He's a man of many words. I mentioned earlier that this is a live show, which means that some things could go wrong. They have gone wrong in the past, and last week proved it well, didn't it, producer?
It did.
It was a fiasco, so please don't go watch last week's show. It was the only thing we could do is laugh. Things are likely to happen again. If they do, just roll with the punches. We certainly did. We had no other choice. So if you're new to the show, this is the show where we offer solutions to your canine behaviors and training questions. That's the intent of it, right? So before we start, let me explain how you can get your questions answered and addressed with us. And it's real simple. You just add in the comments section below on the Facebook section as well as YouTube, and our producer sees them pop up, and when they do, he starts reading them, and we do this exchange back and forth, and we try to answer as much as possible. So it's really that simple. There's not much more to it. So for now, just comment back, give us a thumbs up or something. Are they seeing us?
Yep, they're seeing us. We've already got a question, and we are facing the right direction this week.
Oh, really? See, last week we were upside down, and then one of our cameras fell. It was a disaster. So, good. I'm glad that you guys can see us. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. It'd be better to have a better mug than this, right, James? So, anyway, so we'll move on. If you have a question, we'll do that, and if not, we'll fill it in with topics that we have today.
Yep. Dane is asking, he says that he needs some help with his training his dog to be his service dog. So, little advice on getting that started.
Okay, so Dane, here's the deal with service dogs. It's become sort of a taboo thing in the industry, and I don't mean this negatively, okay, because there's a genuine need for service dogs. So, and you probably fall in that category, so, certainly I won't question it, but here's the deal. I mean, a couple of things. One is you gotta have a dog that is well behaved beyond means, beyond anything else in this conversation. This dog has to mind, cannot be aggressive, cannot have bad manners of any sort. As a matter of fact, we have a video on that, by the way. When we finish the show today, go to our YouTube section and go watch it. I get a little saltier in there than I do in this show, and that's because I really have an issue with a lot of people out there using the term incorrectly. But so service dogs intended to be a dog that provides a service to a human being, a child, a grown-up, it doesn't matter. Just a service, an action, something that is going on with that dog and that person. Typically mobility dogs, that kind of stuff, So, but you have to start, first of all, with a dog that is confident, a dog that is not aggressive, a dog that is well-mannered. You're going to have to go through excessive training. I hate to call it that, but it's really a lot of training on this animal to get him to the point mature enough that he minds every word you have. Then next is this really the dog that will provide for your services, whatever those may be? And please don't put them in the comment section because it's a public channel and we don't want a bunch of other people reading about whatever it is you're going to write about. So, but the point is that if you have a condition that you need a dog for, is this the right dog for it? And I'm not talking breed, I'm talking specifically, is this the right dog for that function? And if it is, then, you find yourself a good training organization that helps you through it. Most of us are really honest. If you tell us, hey, I want an eye-seeing dog, Angel, can you help me? I'm going to decline because it's not my area of expertise. And I'm going to say, look, there's some other organizations, let me help you find them. But it depends on what that function is. We're likely to help you, or other people are likely to help you if it's closer to their area of expertise. So that's how you get started. So it's a lengthy process, by the way, and I tip my hat off to anybody that goes through it. So good luck with that. I hope that addresses at least the beginning part of it.
Yeah, it really just kind of comes down to coming in, sitting down with us, doing a very simple evaluation to see what services that we can help you with, or where we need to direct you to get the help you need.
Yep. It's not that hard.
But we can definitely get on top of the obedience and the canine good citizens qualifications that you're going to need. So.
And all of that has to be done before you even start with anything else. Now, by the way, often we like testing the dog to see if he's got the aptitude for what it is you're looking to do in the future, right? And that's a good idea before you spend a lot of emotional time into training a dog. And by the way, money is one thing, but when you put emotional time into an animal to get him where you need him, and then it turns out that he's the wrong animal for that function, it's a bit depressing. And guess what? We convince ourselves that this is the right dog when it's not. So anyway, any other questions, James?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So Carly's asking a question here. Let me get my head around it. My pack is having a change of dominant status. My dog is a little... bear with me for a second.
Sure.
Okay, so her dog is getting a little older. Her boyfriend's dog is trying to take the place. She's afraid of her little dog is going to get hurt because she's been getting picked on. Is there anything that they can do to help? Do they need to keep them separated? How can they manage these two? This issue?
Tough question. So I'll start backwards here, and that is, do you need to keep them separated? Look, I discourage that at all costs unless it's the only way to manage your household. But I discourage it because the minute you do that, you truly have separated your pack and you truly have established two alpha dogs. The, A crowd alpha dog and the B pack alpha dog, right? The minute you separate them, you end up with that problem. So I discourage that at all costs unless, again, it's the only option, right? Now, the only option being that sometimes you deal with a very old dog that you're trying to protect because the other ones are going to hurt it, or a very small dog. Sometimes you have a little pocket dog that can easily get hurt by something getting out of control. So other than that, I would work the pack issues together. Now, I can give you some simplistic stuff right now, but you're going to need some professional help on this. One is, anytime you have a pack order change, it's either due to sickness, age, or just a dog giving up the order, giving up that assignment. They no longer want it. So if that is the case, then, it just needs to be addressed. We need to reestablish who the real leader is again. We need to reinforce that leadership, and then we need to make sure that the rest of the pack understands it, right? There's a lot of assignments that take place in that. And when you do it, typically they'll adjust themselves pretty well. Sometimes, by the way, when you get a new dog, they themselves think they're the alpha dog because maybe they came out of an alpha structure where they were the alpha dog. So they immediately come into your pack thinking they're the alpha dog, and they may not be, and you struggle there for a while to establish it or set it properly. And either way, it needs to be established correctly. And correctly is not that he's the oldest, the biggest, the meanest. Correctly is who is the true alpha dog within the pack relative to their actions. Who goes through the doors first, who is the dog that leads the pack and everybody follows naturally. Natural leader, the rest of the dogs will follow, especially if you have a larger pack. If you got anything to more than 3 dogs or so, it's easy to tell who your alpha dog is. And by the way, every dog in that pack, I want to talk about a large pack in case people watching this have it. If you have a large pack, and I'm talking 5 dogs or more, it is something, it's critical you understand that every dog in that pack has a role. So when you say alpha dog is the blue dog, well, the fact that your blue dog is alpha dog doesn't mean that everybody else is just last. There is a number 2 placement, there's a number 3 placement, there's a number 4 placement, etc., etc. So when you take number 1 dog for a walk, just know the number 2 became number 1 for that period of time that you're gone, and everybody follows, right? Sometimes you remove a dog in the middle because, just life takes place and he removes himself, right? And it changes the entire order. It doesn't mean that everybody else moves up one. It's just that there's going to be a conflict until they reestablish it, and sometimes it's not the same order anymore. So it's important to understand that. But alpha struggles are tough. You need professional help. Give us a jingle. We'll be more than glad to try to help you with that kind of stuff. But just seek some professional tutoring on that, okay? Great question, though.
One thing and Carly, I'll talk to you specifically. I put a link on the comment section here. That link specifically talks about alpha struggles with a human pack. A lot of the stuff that's inside that document, we also ask clients that are struggling with dog-on-dog alpha struggles. So a lot of the same things that you can apply towards the situation you may be having. But like Angel says, the best thing to do, let us evaluate on who the real alpha is, and that way we can point you in the right direction. But anyway, there's a document that can help you with that.
Yep, good feedback.
So
good. What do you got?
We're caught up.
We're caught up. That's great. And that was wonderful, by the way. I like just going right into it with a bunch of questions. I mean that some of you were on the sidelines waiting for the show to start. I hate keeping you waiting. But so today, James, I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that, and by the way, all of you can interrupt anytime you have a comment on this topic, or if you have a question, a behavioral question. I'd rather deal with the questions than the topic at hand. But, we're headed into Labor Day here in a couple of weeks, in 13 days or so, right, James? Or 14 days? So, yeah, in about 2 weeks, we're going to have Labor Day. I'm not doing much. My wife and I call it amateur weekend. Right, this is the weekend where people get out for the last hooray of the summer, and they do dumb things, or they just do fun things, or whatever. They go to the lake, they go to whatever, the beach.
Enjoy the time off.
Enjoy the time off. It's really the last formal one because you have a Monday off. The next weekend or long weekend off or whatever is going to be in fall, near winter time, and it's going to be cold, so no one gets out unless you go skiing or so. But anyway, the reason I want to talk about that is because sometimes that date can also be bad for the dog, right? So I try to mix in dogs with all my topics here. But so the reason I wanted to speak about it is because it doesn't have to be bad, right? The reason that I believe it's bad is because it usually is, right? It's just, people don't spend the time necessary, or a lot of people don't spend the time necessary. So anyway, that's the reason it could be bad. So I'll come back to this topic here in a second. I'm getting signals.
Yeah, well, a couple things. Terry asked on the subject of the alpha dog on who should enter and exit the door first. And the good rule of thumb with that, and you can speak more on this also, is your alpha dog is first at everything.
Yep.
It eats first, it goes to the door first, it comes back in first. The best rule of thumb is your alpha dog is first at everything.
Yep, absolutely. And by the way, that doesn't mean that your favorite dog is forced into doing these actions, right? I don't know if that makes myself clear. If you have a pack, and within that pack you have your favorite dog, and we all do, by the way. It's not like kids. We don't have favorite kids, but we have favorite dogs, right? So so the point is, it doesn't mean that you take your favorite dog and push him out the door first so he's first, and bring him in the door so he's first, and feed him first because you want him to be the alpha dog. It is the natural progression. Who is doing this naturally first, and who is following this natural leader? So pay attention. James is absolutely right. Alpha dog does everything first, gets all the respect from the rest. You may have a conflict with one or two, and that's why you posted what you did. But the point is that they are the preferred dog in the pack because they've earned it one way or the other.
Yeah, and I would say that's the number one issue or problem that I see day in and day out when we're dealing with alpha struggles, is that us as humans try and orchestrate that alpha pack where it is literally the natural progression of the dog. They get to pick their alpha structure. We don't get to, unfortunately. So,
well said.
I have another one from Emily.
Hi, Emily.
What do you do when your dog won't stop barking at other dogs and gets aggressive? So it sounds like some dog aggression issues.
So a couple of things. One is we need to establish what kind of aggression this is. Is this defense aggression? Is this dog being actually defensive? Is this fear aggression? Just the dog, fear of the unknown of this other dog? Is this a memory thing? Has your dog been assaulted by another dog sometime in its past life, and as a result of it, now he is moving to the fight first? And that could be territorial, that could be defensive, that could be fear. Any one of those three will trigger that same response, and that's a good offense sometimes, opposite to having a good defense. But anyway, so the point in all this is that first we need to understand which one of the aggressions is present and why possibly your dog is doing. And typically we do that through a test. We try to figure out how the dog triggers, when he triggers. Does he trigger a 2 foot, 10 foot, 100 foot? When does your dog trigger to this bad event, right? We need to figure that out. And that also helps us with the body language that they display during this assault, air assault, may it be. That also tells us what kind of aggression is present with the dog. Now, what do? It depends on what it is. If you're dealing with a dog that's got fear aggression or territorial aggression, typically we need to interrupt that behavior. The dog needs to know that it is not something you allow to happen, right? And when they actually respond right to that action, we typically praise that behavior, right? You want your dog to know that quiet and meek and away from such disturbance is what you want. And you interrupt every single occurrence of the dog doing this. Now, If the reasons are defense aggression, we probably need to go look at this dog a little closer and figure out what is going on. If he's really coming to the argument that it's probably not so much a dog aggression, but it's just a dog being defensive, which means he may just do this with humans too. We need to give him an outlet. And typically on defense aggressive dogs, we typically go in the avenue of saying, look, if he needs an outlet, let's teach him when it's okay to bite. And we give him toys to bite, like sleeves, bodysuits, that kind of stuff. And they get taught that this is the only time they're allowed to use those teeth, and the rest of the time they have to love on everybody. So it depends on the type of aggression. So don't react to any of this unless we know what type of aggression. But that's a really, really good question.
We're good.
Good. So hopefully that helps. That was Emily, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
cool. Emily, go to it. Get that checked out. By the way, if you're trying to figure out what kind of aggression, obviously give us a jingle or give a good qualified trainer a jingle, and they'll be able to tell you. So, I think I was going in the direction of Labor Day, right?
Labor Day was.
So why do I think it's bad? It's because it is, and people don't spend time with their dogs during that time. It doesn't have to be that way. So in my opinion, most people are focused on the summer party of the year, the last one, right? So because of it, they don't entertain Fido, right? So if they do take them with them, they may, the dog may be fending for themselves, and that's always bad. And if you're really much busier with your friends and yourself and your immediate family than you are with a dog, then the dog's gonna get in trouble one way or the other. Either with another dog, if, like in the case of Emily, you never know, get into a fight somewhere, that may not be good, or worse yet, get in trouble in the water because he doesn't have a life jacket. I mean, these are things you need to pay attention to if you're going to be taking them into the water at any given time. But it does not need to be this way, right?
It doesn't.
That's the part that bugs the heck out of me, is that it doesn't have to be this way. So many options. I mean, if you don't have the time, and this is family time, and gosh, it's the last party, the last, whatever of the season, then don't take the dog. Right? But if you do take them, my gosh, you can rekindle this great relationship with your dog all over again. Think about it. You got now 3 straight days of nothing but sitting around reading books and spending time with your dog and your family. What if you spent 15 minutes a day doing some dog training with them?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, because training has to be fun.
Yes. So if you're having a fun session, leash in hand, and you're doing things in the campsite, let's say, 15 minutes a day is probably something you don't do today, right? So that would start rebuilding a better relationship, right? What if you spent 10, 15 minutes a day playing ball with them? Right now you have this other relation. By the way, playing ball is always fun, even if the dog doesn't like to play ball. Right? Because what you do is you throw the ball about 3-4 feet, you go chase it, pick it up, throw it again. You're really playing ball with yourself. But the dog gets to see this. He actually will follow you. He'll chase you, saying, I don't know why you're chasing this darn ball, but I'm going to follow you. So he's having fun, and you're exercising as well, which cannot be bad. What if you spend that same time teaching the dog to do tricks, right? You build this relationship. The point is, you got 3 days in front of you. Some people take Friday off, so that's even 4 days. Yeah. You got these days in front of you. It's a good time to go build it. Anyway, it'll change. What's interesting is you do those little things I just mentioned, and it'll change the relationship between your dog and you forever. It's just built. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to spend some quality time with your dog. Take them to the park.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not going anywhere, that's the other side of it, right? James, are you going away in 2 weeks?
Yeah, this is probably a good time to tell you I'm taking off Friday too.
So I just got my warning that he's going to be, look, as long as he's not gone during the show, I guess I'm okay. So that is the probable upside of spending quality time with your dog, right, is all it is. So now, unfortunately, the dog's going to take a back seat because it normally does, and this is the reports I get, simply because we're just too busy at life and the family, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, if it's busy, right? So, you got a question?
I got a question.
Good.
Andrea is asking, how do you get a dog to stop digging the china?
Oh, that's funny. Andrea. So many different reasons for a dog to dig, right? I mean, sometimes they dig to cool off. So you got to pay attention and say, where is he digging? Is he digging everywhere? Or is he digging in particularly cooler places, against the side of the house where the shade is most? where is he digging, right? So, and then based on that information, then you know how to act. If he's digging in areas that are normally cooler, then you probably got to give him a cooler spot in the backyard. If he's digging anywhere, he may be hunting. Who knows, Andrea? Hunting is a lot of fun for dogs, and they have great claws. They can dig anywhere. But if he smells, sniffs something underneath the ground, he may be hunting, right? Not for the purposes of eating, just for the purposes of hunt. It's kind of fun. So he may be doing that. The point is, you need to get out of it, of course, no matter what the reason might be for this. But again, if it's because he's cooling off, then a piece of carpet somewhere, wet it down every day, then he's got something to lay on instead of digging a hole somewhere. Right? If it's for the purposes of being bored and he wants to dig, then keep him not bored, right? More engagement with a dog. If he's doing it just because he's digging holes, and some dogs do that, then you can get on top of that pretty easily. We have a couple of documents on it right on our website, by the way. But the point is that one, let's assume you have 20 holes in the backyard. I would suggest you walk around the backyard with your pooper scooper, pick up all the fresh deposits, not the petrified ones, but the fresh deposits, and put a little one in each one of those holes and cover up the hole again with dirt, okay? And then pay attention. Every 12 hours, you're going to go out there and look for new holes. By the way, most dogs are not going to dig in the old hole full of poop or with poop in it. So let's assume he digs a new one, and he will. Okay. Then within 12 hours, you've seen it. You're going to go pick up some new deposits. And by the way, there's always lots of deposits in the backyard. You're going to pick up a new deposit, put it in that hole, cover it up again with dirt, come back 12 hours later. The point is every 12 hours, look at it twice a day. Go look and see what new holes you have and cover them up. Eventually, he starts slowing down his digging, and eventually he stops completely. Meanwhile, you've gotten rid of all the deposits, and your lawn is going to be a little greener, I'm sure. So the point in all this is that dogs will not dig up their own feces out of a hole, and also starts programming them that every time they dig a hole, it gets filled with poop, and anyway, it's not a super positive experience for the dog. So you do that, it'll probably go away. Another thing you could do is put a little bit of cayenne pepper mixed with vinegar in each one of these. It just makes them sneeze and keeps away from it. But it's so much cheaper to get rid of the poop. Yep. So good luck with it.
Did you talk about busy toys?
No, I have not.
Okay, so just real quick on that, give them some toys that they like to play with, especially this time of year if it is actually a heat issue. One thing that I like to have people do, take a bucket or a large container, fill it with water, put it in the freezer, let it freeze overnight, dump it out in the backyard. Now they have this big block of ice that they get to play with instead of digging holes in your backyard. It keeps them busy and keeps them out of trouble. Yep,
that's great feedback.
We got one more.
Sure.
Time for one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see here. It just went away. Kim asks, her English Bulldog has started biting at their feet, jumping up and down, and blocking them whenever they try and leave. How can we control this?
Biting at their feet, huh? I'll assume that's probably some sort of prey drive. I didn't mean play, but prey. Prey drive condition going on with the dog. And if it's a recent condition, it's obviously something that was motivated or instigated into the dog. Maybe it was a game. I tell you, I don't like it anytime a dog wants to play little biting, nipping games, and I'm not talking about blood drawing or anything. I just don't like the action of a dog doing that with me. I consider myself the leader of my pack, and I don't like my dogs doing that kind of stuff. Unless my wife is home, then I guess obviously she's the leader of the pack. So, but regardless, it's not the dog, okay? So a couple of things that I would introduce pretty quickly. I would start interrupting that behavior and allowing your dog to know that that's not a desired behavior. If we're talking about, bare feet that he's going after, spray your feet with a little bit of bitter apple, and that's going to give your dog a really rotten experience. If it's shoes that he's going after, do the same thing. I mean, start the process of saying, does bitter apple correct this behavior or interrupt this behavior? By the way, it doesn't go away. All you've done is given your dog a bad experience. So let's assume that bitter apple works and he goes after your shoes as you're walking by, and he's going to get a bad taste in his mouth and he's going to stop. When he stops, you're going to reward that stopping behavior. okay, and continue doing your thing. You immediately spray your feet or your shoes or whatever it is in case he goes after it again. But repeat it, and see how that works for you. But the idea is give this animal a not such a positive experience after going, after your feet, or going after your feet, I should say. So the point in all this, by the way, is that somehow your dog thinks this is fun, okay? And prey-driven animals, by the way, and if this is an English bulldog? Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them are pretty high prey drive. So if that's what's going on, that's a good way to start interrupting it. But he has to clearly understand that this is not desirable by the leaders of this great pack you run. So.
Yeah, and to kind of add to that, and outside of the fact that your dog is mouthing at you and biting at your feet, on top of blocking you from going outside the door, you could be actually on top of all of the prey drive issues, dealing with an alpha struggle yourself. So
yeah,
I would say, obedience
yep.
to get on top of all of that
yep.
issue.
Good point.
And then possibly look up into the comment section where that link that I posted, and that'll also help with a lot of the structural issues, if that's what you're dealing with.
Yep.
But obedience, whether you're dealing with an alpha struggle or not, obedience will help get on top of the fact that it's mouthing at you.
Yeah. What's interesting, James is touching on a really good point. I addressed this thinking that this is prey drive, meaning it's a game this dog is picking up out of the fact that you're moving quickly by it. James could be absolutely right. If this is a alpha order structure issue, and he's really reprimanding you, then you need to follow what he just said, right? Reprimanding is not acceptable coming from your dog towards you. So, what do you say, James? That's it? It's time. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you for tuning into Ask the DogMan today. Our live show, our weekly live show. We appreciate all of you for being here with us, and we look forward to next week again. We're really sorry if we didn't get to all of the comments here. James spends some time typically, and he'll do it again and make sure that he responds to everybody in case we missed a question somewhere. Reading the comment section, he'll make sure that something is on there, and if not, I will later on. So, by the way, after some feedback from a bunch of you, actually, we are moving the show into an early evening time frame. You'd be surprised how many people actually told us about this. So we're going to move it into a Thursday evening at 6:30, I think was the preferred. So give us a shake. It'll be next week. It'll be the first one. So it'll be on August 30th, Thursday, 6:30 p.m. For some reason, that seems to be better with some of you. We're trying to please here. See, we're listening, right, James?
That's
so
right.
They give us feedback. We react to it. So it'll be on the same social channels, and you'll get the same alerts that we've done this time around, so you won't be able to miss it. So we call it, we're moving into prime time. So, by the way, all we ask for doing this kind of stuff is a social interaction from you. A like, a share, a heart, a comment. That's all we ask. So we appreciate it when you do it. Watch us again next week. And last, I would not be doing my job if I did not remind you not to struggle with your dog training and behavioral issues. This is what we do, and we'd love to help you out. This is Angel Soriano, aka DogMan, barking back at you. You asked, we answered.